SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
When addiction takes control, getting help can change everything. Parkwood Behavioral Health System offers compassionate, evidence-based addiction treatment for adults right here in Mississippi. Take the first step today. Visit parkwoodbhs.com. Healing starts here. With limited exceptions, physicians are not employees or agents of this facility.
I'm Steve Azar, and I'm on the other side of the microphone, meaning I'm asking the questions this time, and oh, have mercy for the airwaves. I spent 20 years in Music City, wrote and made some hits, traveled the world, and then moved my family back to the birthplace of American music and where the magnolia trees prosper. And now every time I put my feet on Mississippi soil, when I'm off the road, well, I'm at peace. On this show, it's all about hearing the stories straight from the mouths of the friends I've made along the way, their journey to success. Heck, there might be someone on, I don't even know, but you know how us Mississippi types are. We tend to take well to new company. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them. I'm Steve Azar. It's just like that muddy river, moving slow. Ain't no worries, it's how life goes, baby. In a Mississippi Minute. That's right.
Hey folks, time for another In a Mississippi Minute. I am Steve Azar, reminding you that my friends at Visit Mississippi, the birthplace of America's music, that's what we celebrate. Even though we're going to cross barely over the border, which I call the capital of Northwest Mississippi, Memphis, Tennessee, where some of the greatest music and the man behind it was ever made. Changed all of our worlds, my world included. And as far as you could see, go to visitmississippi.org and celebrate your Mississippi. Our guest this evening, he wrote the soundtracks of our lives. He is in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, the Memphis Music Hall of Fame. His songs are in the Grammy Hall of Fame, a Hall of Fame for the greatest recordings in all genres, and named among the 100 greatest songwriters by Rolling Stone magazine. Soul Man by Sam and Dave, written and produced by Isaac Hayes. And today's guest in 1967 was number one on both the R&B and pop charts. Won Grammy Award for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group, later listed in Rolling Stone's Top 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. That's what this man is all about. Library of Congress, it's a national treasure on that National Recording Registry. Other songs that we all know and love, known for like Hold On, I'm Coming. I can't wait to hear the story behind that. When Something Is Wrong With My Baby. The list goes on and on. To put it in golf terminology, he's like 4 rounds in the low 60s on a given weekend at the PGA Championship. That's what I'm talking about. Also joining me, celebrating this incredible treasure in the music world, is our pal, mutual pal. He's going to help me steer the ship for sure. Senior Executive Director of Memphis Chapter of the Recording Academy, John Hornyak. So let's get to it with our very special guest, who will be on Mississippi Soul, thank goodness, on his book tour. The event at Grammy Museum, Mississippi, will be September 14th at 7 p.m., followed by his book signing in the lobby. Let's get to it with the one and only wonderful music man, David Porter. Hello, David.
Steve, it's a pleasure being with you, certainly.
John, welcome to see you as well. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be a part of this and honored to be part of this trio with David Porter and you.
I'm grateful. Real quick, before I turn it over to you, John, because I know you've got a lot of things that you guys are so close and you spend time on the golf course. You guys have been all about the Memphis music scene since time began. And I know you're dear friends. And John, your respect for David is immense. We know that. But David, I got to tell you, just a shout out to our mutual friend. I spent a lot of time in Nashville and on the stage at times with Steve Cropper. We had worked on a project recently, Rock for Children record, got to see him right before he passed. I know you and him shaped the entire music world when it came to Stax. Those memories of you and Steve?
What I can't even begin to talk about the career that Isaac Hayes and I've had without acknowledging the contribution that was made by Al Jackson, Doug Dunn, and the one and only Steve Cropper. So Steve and I have a lot of great memories and had a lot of great memories, and I'll always treasure those. And he was one of the most revered, amazing musicians ever, and also an unbelievable producer, songwriter. So he'd be dearly missed by me, but I'm sure missed by people all over the world.
Sure. I miss drinking red wine with him from occasions. I can tell you that. But him and Angel and everybody's such a sweetheart. All right. So, John, I'm going to turn it over to you. You guys have been spending a little time on the golf course lately. That means you've had quite a bit of time to catch up. Y'all are old friends. let's talk about the event and all that, but I'll let you run for a minute.
Yeah, and as you know, Steve, on the golf course, we never talk about any of this stuff, but I know a little bit about David. So, David, singer, songwriter, producer, and now an author of this book,
So cool.
The Soul Man, which with the full support of Amazon, he's done a book tour that's included LA, where Stevie Wonder and members of Earth, Wind, and Fire showed up. He's done multiple visits to New York on the book tour, including the Songwriters Hall of Fame event, where he was interviewed by Paul Schaefer, and the attendees included Taylor Swift. I could go on, but David, what does it feel like at this stage of your life to be so celebrated?
Well, it feels like breathing because, John, to be able to experience what I'm fortunate enough to be able to experience, to hear about a lot of the, as Steve was just mentioned, a lot of the accolades put on my cohorts that contributed so much to the music that Isaac and I were able to produce and write, and to be able to feel some of the success that I'm feeling right now is the most gratifying feeling. And I'm humble and honored by it. And I feel so fortunate to be in the position that I am today.
I got to say something. John, you and I both know this. We've been around a lot of incredibly successful people in our business. We're grateful for that, always humbled. But you can tell the humility. It's like the common thread through all the great ones. And it's interesting to see that there's zero pretentiousness in this man, David. But I think that's what has made David so relevant for so long and made the impact, because you and I, we all know that the great ones have that trait. And it's just interesting. And I don't know if it's all the memories of the hard times growing up that never leave you, and the gratefulness that we all have to have had the success at whatever level it is. But man, it's just the tone in your voice. I feel it.
Well, Steve, if you don't mind me sharing with you, I learned a long time ago some of the principles by which I was able to make by observations of those that came before me. One of the things I learned was that there are no new emotions. You have to find a fresh way to be relatable to common emotions. And at some point in time, when Fats Domino and Little Richard and those guys had their time, Sonny James had a #1 record, if you can believe this, in country in 1976. On Sonny James, and it was When Something Is Wrong with My Baby. I just to understand that the insightfulness that you get from understanding that people don't care about how you feel, they care about how you make them feel. And so if you cannot allow yourself to humble yourself, to be relatable and digestible in content to people that may want to pour into you, then you're missing a great opportunity, but you're also missing the gift of being able to appreciate them wanting to pay attention to you in the first place. So that's a part of it, a significant part of it in my life. I appreciate it.
Well, you just feel it. You sense it. Growing up with your family life, what was that like as a kid?
Well, I came from a family. I was born not in a hospital. I was born on a dead-end street in Memphis, Tennessee, with an outdoor toilet in 1941. This year, I'll be fortunate enough to be 85 years old.
You look incredible.
I feel that beginning, allowing me to connect to that foundational source, which was a faith in something bigger than me, which was the church that my mother exposed me to on that dead-end street, along with my best friend who lived right across the street from me, 4 doors up the hill, because it was, as I mentioned, it was a dead-end street, and his name was Maurice White. He later created a group called Earth, Wind, and Fire, as you know, but he and I were best friends coming up, and so that environment of being in a church, learning about music, learning about the connection of spirituality, set the foundation for me to develop the passion and the insightfulness to do what I'm doing today.
John, church, there it is, right? How many times have we seen the greats start there, you know?
Yes.
You know, it's like almost who didn't start that way.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know very many that didn't. It becomes an emotional source. When you find that people can feel, if you allow yourself to be a person that can open yourself up to feelings, you'll find that there's a connection that becomes so powerful, and you don't know where it's going to take you. I had no idea that it would take me to the levels of travels and world recognition that it's taken me. But being able to be sensitized and open to feeling and honest with people in a pure, connectable way open the doors for all kinds of things to me. And I would suggest that it has done that for many people.
David Porter's my guest. I promise you I'm going to let John take over at some point. We're both very strong-minded, unfortunately, but he's a lot better man than me. We're going to be right back with the great David Porter. John Horniak's with me. The event is Monday, September 14th, 7 p.m. It's free to members, and it's $15 to anyone else. $15 to see truly, arguably, one of the greatest men in music of our time in David Porter. Can't wait to celebrate his book, What Took Him So Long. But I can tell you this man looks like he's 45. We're going to be right back. Visit Mississippi.org, celebrating all things music. We'll be right back. I'm Steve Azar.
Running from the land of milk and honey. The way we look at life is funny. Damn the money. Damn the money. Damn the money. Yeah, damn that money.
Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now.
Flying down that levee road, trying to see how fast you go. I got my baby along for the ride.
Rocking into a Mississippi Minute. Visit Mississippi.org. We are the birthplace of America's music. Right over the border into Memphis, Tennessee. Changed the entire world when it came to stacks. My guest today, David Porter. Monday, September 14th. Celebrating his new book. Visit Mississippi.org is ecstatic. Check it out and make your way into Memphis. What a place. My brother was the chief of staff, David, for many years. He aged out this past year at Campbell's Clinic. He's a Grizzlies guy, orthopedic guy, and he is also about to be not the chairman of the board of ALSAC. So he's the true winner in our family, but he knows all about you and knows all about John. John, you want to talk? Any questions you want to ask David?
Of course, I got a couple. You mentioned Stax, so can we start there? And
Yeah.
David, I know you were the first staff songwriter at Stax, and could you talk about how you opened the door in the early days of Stax, and later opened the door for so many other key players at Stax?
Well, when I came aboard to that environment, there was a old movie theater, the Capitol Movie Theater, was being converted into something right across the street. I was in my senior year of high school. I was sacking grocery at a grocery store across the street, and curiosity got the best of me because I was so curious to find out what was going on over there with the construction. And I walked across the street and inquired and found out that it was a country label called Satellite Records, and a guy and his sister were converting that old movie theater, Capitol Movie Theater, into a recording studio, which really pricked my interest. So with the construction going on and me seeing the activities going on over there, when I would have a break after school, I'd be working at the grocery store, get a break. I'd walk across the street because music was my passion. And I would just, in curiosity, ask them if they would do possibly an audition for me. Over time, with the convincing of Jim's sister, Estelle Axel, convinced him to do the audition. They did the audition. I brought into that environment several key players in the history of Stax Records. Andrew Love, who was the horn player, the cornerstone, along with a guy by the name of Wayne Jackson, the Memphis Horns, revered all over the world, not just on
So
Stax
good.
Records, but on so many amazing records. Booker T. Jones, who became Booker T. in the MGs, I had him on my demo. He played baritone horn. William Bell, who sang background on my demo, along with one of the other members of his vocal group, vocal group, the Del Rios, and he ended up recording an amazing hit record later on. But I was able to bring into the environment some elements that could play a role in them converting over to R&B music. That was because when they were moving into the environment, that particular area was more inducive and applicable to that kind of music. There was a record store that Estelle Axon had at the front there, so they converted to that, and they allowed me to become the first staff songwriter. And with that happening, I started bringing people from everywhere with talent into that environment, and eventually put the singing aside and start writing as a focus, and the rest is history for me.
John, you grow up a fan of David. How does that relationship start for real when you guys connect?
So I first discovered David Porter in my teenage band. The first soul song we worked up was Hold On, I'm Coming. And I vividly remember the day that the drummer brings this to our rehearsal. We rehearsed at his and his brother, the house. And it was Hold On, I'm Coming. It was the Blue Stacks label, and, in parentheses, Isaac Hayes, David Porter. And that song, it's our first soul song, sort of opened the door to us learning other soul songs and referring to ourselves for a while there as a blue-eyed soul group, which, and we our first recording session in Memphis to get on Talent Party, one of the songs we recorded was Hold On, I'm Coming. So it was, so I've experienced David's career in real time every point since then.
Like an old Mary. Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say this, Steve. The amazing thing by the time John first told me the story and what had actually happened, he had become the executive director of one of the few chapter cities of the Grammy organization, which gives out the Grammy Awards for music all over this country. He was the guy in Memphis, Tennessee, in the surrounding region, who was in charge of all of that. So I'm looking at a guy that's progress and making things happen. Yeah. Had no idea that he was this huge fan, because he was so focused and doing a constructive job that he was about and making everybody feel welcome and revered and needed and all of that. Till when he finally told me that, it just totally blew me away, because he was accomplishing so much in Memphis, Tennessee, with the great work he was doing with the Grammy organization.
Well, it takes a great guy like John that absolutely is all in with the music. It was his life since he was young, like you and me and all that. And I get it, but he's the guy you want to man that ship for all of us. Right. And we've always been grateful. I recorded at John's studio when I was about 19 or 20 years old. My first time was Nashville at 14, but went there for spent a week. It sounds unreal. And John was in there every once in a while, and I was like in awe. I was like, I was in shell shock, because I knew who John was, and the level of significance he had in Memphis as well. Great memory for me. For sure, and it was part of that whole growth process. But I'm always grateful for them letting me even open the crack, jump. I sort of broke the door down. They didn't know I was recording in the middle of the night. All right, so let's talk about the book. It's taken you a long time to finally do this. What got you in that sort of writing room?
Well, the experience that I've had in my career, it really has been. There's no other way to say it. It's been actually amazing. And I just thought that, before I'm out of here, I ought to share some of those experiences with others. And people have been saying for years, David, you should write a book, you should write a book. And I ran from it. But I finally come to the realization that I'm still here because so many of my friends are leaving, that's evidently something that I should be about and should do. And so I got busy with the thought of doing it. I've had so many experiences. I knew Jimi Hendrix and met Jimi Hendrix as a friend before he became Jimi Hendrix. I had met some of the greatest artists. I knew Elvis before Elvis knew me. I mean, just so many people. Otis Redding, I had a great influence on Otis Redding, not only as a fellow artist, but as a friend and a guy who actually sang on a record with him. I mean, just the list goes on and on. And then the relationship that Isaac Hayes and I had. And then here comes Maurice White, Earth, Wind, and Fire. All of these experiences, it just made sense for me to document that and take people through the journey of my life. And so I finally got to it. It took me 3 years to complete it. But the Soul Man, Life of Songwriter David Porter, came to fruition because I felt the compulsion to do it and wanting to do it in a substantive way.
John?
Well, I ordered it on the Amazon. I pre-ordered it
right now
away and read it.
I'm doing it right now.
So anyway,
actually, John knows this, Steve. I also have another website that people can order this book. And I autograph the book and mail it to them with an autographed signature and have their name on it. And that's David Porter, MemphisMusic.com.
David
able
Porter,
to do that as well.
David Porter, Memphis Music. That's what everybody wants to do.
.com.
MemphisMusic.com, and you get an autographed book. Are you kidding me?
You get an autographed book mailed to you. But it's just been such a wonderful experience for me. And I have a lot of great memories of Mississippi because my mother and father were born in Mississippi, West Point, Mississippi. And so I have a lot of memories. And so it's a great honor for me to be able to go to the Grammy Museum there and to be involved with that in a really substantive way.
John Horniak's my guest. Well, he's actually supposed to be leading the role. Of course, I won't shut up. My man, David Porter, the book, you can go to davidportermemphismusic.com and get an autographed book from David. That is a game changer. I can promise you the Grammy Museum, Mississippi, it may take off. It looks like a spaceship anyway. It may just fly off when David's there and John's there. We're going to talk more about that September 14th, 7 p.m. This is a once in a lifetime. I feel like this is going to be the greatest event celebrating, to me, the most authentic artist of our time. And that's September 14th, 7 p.m. You got to get your tickets. If you're a Grammy member already, you get to walk in free. Give me a break. Visit Mississippi.org. Thank you for letting me have fun right now with David Porter, John Horniak. Don't go away.
Up to $20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now. In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
I was cramming in a lot there. David Porter is my guest today. John Horniak is supposed to be steering the ship, but I won't shut up, and I'm going to get better, I promise you, after the next 10 years. Give me 10 years. Visit Mississippi.org. Grateful for them. I'm into my 9th year of doing this show. It started out as something that was just going to be a joke, and I guess when you've made it 10 years, I guess it's not a joke, and I'm really grateful for these opportunities to celebrate incredible lives. John Horniak, my man, just wonderful man, so influential in the music business, period. It wouldn't be the same without him. Right now, I can tell you, with him steering the ship at Grammy there in Memphis, Tennessee, and, of course, David Porter, his new book, Soul Man, is out. and you can get it at davidportermemphismusic.com if you want an autographed copy, or you can go get it at Amazon everywhere else you get books. He'll be here September 14th, Grammy Museum. And so John, take it from here for a second. Maybe you can dig into the
I know
event.
one of the things that we want to, and I very much appreciate all the kind words both of you are saying about me. So I'm doing my best to stay humble here through all this. But David, how did you and Isaac Hayes start working together? I think to me that's one of the great stories in the book.
Well, we were both aspiring young music guys in high school. Isaac attended a high school across the city called Manassas High School, and he had a vocal group called the Teen Tones. And I attended a school in Memphis called Booker T. Washington High School, and I had a vocal group called the Marquettes. And we would compete on Wednesday night on the most famous street in Memphis for music, Beale Street. And they would have on Wednesday night an early talent shows for young aspiring talents from different high schools to come and compete to try to win a prize. The prize was $3 for first place. And so we would compete on Wednesday nights trying to win that $3. And so that's how we first met. After that, after high school, Isaac was performing around Memphis in different bands. I was performing around Memphis in different bands. So we knew of each other. So when I got the opportunity to become the first staff writer at Stax Records, and because of the success of Motown and the fact of collaboration with people working together, I thought it was a natural instinct for me to come to grips with those things that were weakness of me and try to find someone who needed that strength that I had. And we put those complements together. And the person that I thought of first was Isaac Hayes. I brought Isaac into the Stax environment with me, and the rest became history. We developed our concept writing. We stayed true to that. We integrated what we had learned through our early development, and then became the writers and producers that we became.
Wow.
So David, I mean, we touched a little bit on Hold On, I'm Coming, and it's one of the chapters in your book. But I think I'd love for everyone to hear the story of how that song came to be.
I'd like to hear the story too.
Well, the interesting thing about Hold On, I'm Coming, some of everybody sang the song publicly, from Aretha Franklin winning the Grammy with it to every rock band out there doing it. And so if they only knew this, what I'm about to share with you guys, now it's known. Isaac and I used to perform in nightclubs when we were just writers. This is before Isaac Hayes became Isaac Hayes, the recording artist. And so we would perform at the nightclubs as just singing other people's songs as well as ours. And so, but we were not famous. And this is right before Hold On, I'm Coming was created. We'd have to hit what You Don't Know Like I Know. And what happened was we came from the club, went to the studio, trying to come up with some new music to record on Sam and Dave. The movie theater, as I mentioned, was converted into a recording studio, which at that time, those theaters, you could walk in the door, and the first door to your right or left would be a restroom. We walked in getting ready to write. I said, Isaac, let me go to the restroom a minute. I went into the restroom. And before I was in there anytime, it's 1:30 in the morning. He's screaming, "Hey, man, hurry up." I said, "Man, hold on. I'm coming." and
right
there it
is.
With that, I walk out of the restroom. I said, Isaac, we got one. He said, "What?" I said, "Hold on, I'm coming." He said, what do you think about it? I said, "Let's make it a rescue song." At that time, he said, "Well, look, I put down a horn riff about 2 weeks ago with Wayne and Andrew. Let's check that out and see if that works for the rescue vibe that you're talking about." We went out in our control room, and he played da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Had no relative idea about what he would use that on. He had just put that lick down. I said, "Isaac, that is our lick. That's a signature for this song." We went on the floor at the piano, and in about 20 minutes, we wrote Hold On, I'm Coming. It just came out of me. I knew the rescue vibe, the spirit of that thought, and the words just flowed out of me, as well as the melody. I sang it just like that. The horn riff was it, and the rest was history.
Man, and what time of the morning was this? What a.m.?
About 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning.
When you make great music, right?
That's exactly when you do it.
That's when you make great music.
That, Steve, as a creative yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a lot. I got to tell you, most of the best stuff came. My producer, Rafe Van Hoy, incredible songwriter in Nashville, when I finally had I didn't have hits till I was 37. So I was doing it and gradually make one publishing deal to the next, kind of elevating. But when I was with him, he didn't have any children. I had our third child on the way. He had full on his windows. His wife and him slept till 2 p.m. And so if I had to go, it was 2, 3 in the morning when he'd look at me and go, "Hey, what's up?" Like I'd been there for 7 hours. And it's like, I said, "Oh, I'm in trouble. And I got to go home and change diapers right when I get home." But I get it. So what is this event going to look like? John, are you producing this event? What's going on?
Well, I'm doing I'm doing the interview with David, and we'll be on the stage there in the theater, and I'll go through the interviewing David about his book, and then at the end, there'll be an opportunity to ask questions, and then we'll go out in the lobby, and David will sign copies of the book for people that are there.
Based on experience, Steve, that I've been fortunate enough to have in other places, I find that people love to hear things that they wouldn't ordinarily hear about careers. And so one of the things that, as John indicated, that he'll be asking me will be things that will be of interest to people who wonder what that kind of environment, the studio kind of environment is, and why is it that way? And we dig deep into that. And then we also talk about the encounters with people who didn't know they were going to have a hit record when you record them, but they put the right attitude into the performance of it. And Isaac and I, or whoever would be producing records, would have a good feeling about it. And some songs you wouldn't have a good feeling about, and they became hits. So just to have those kinds of stories and those kinds of experiences shared with an audience in such a way for them to know that also most creatives come from humble beginning, because they don't let the beginnings that they come from define who they are. Ultimately, they work to get better at whatever their aspirations are. And so we talk about all those kinds of things. And so in addition to going through the music experiences, we go through life experiences as well inside of this. And then we give, as John said, people an opportunity to ask all the questions that they'd like to ask.
We got about a minute and a half left in this segment. Real quick, David, just sort of, when did it start feeling real to you?
It's never felt real to me. This whole experience has been an unbelievable ride for me, from respect, that for people to give you respect and you not understand why, because the only thing you're doing is being passionate and authentic about what you're supplying to them, and they receive it that way, is an humbling experience, and you don't know what's going to be the next humbling day.
I wish folks could feel what we get to do for a living, and I know you've done it better than anybody in the world, and we're just a small piece of that. But I wish people could feel what happens when you're going through all these emotions and you're witnessing in other people and you're experiencing all the things, and have the ability to articulate it and write in melody and words about it. And what happens to us when we're totally vulnerable and honest with it and not afraid, and it just, the release we get and the excitement, it's been the greatest gift that I've ever been a part of in my life, next to the good Lord above and my wife and my kids. We'll be right back with the great David Porter, John Horniak. I love him so much. David Porter is going to be at the Grammy Museum, Mississippi at 7 p.m. on September 14th. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, you guys. I really think this will be the most significant event in Grammy, Mississippi history. I'm saying it right now because of the history this man has made and changed the world. Visit Mississippi.org. Grateful for everything David Porter has done and is still doing, and what's left to do. It's a whole lot left to do. We'll be right back.
You're my sunshine, 'cause like the dawn, you push it all the way. Up to $20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
your next customer is searching online right now, will they find you or your competitor? If your website is outdated, slow, or hard to use on a phone, you could be losing business every day. SuperTalk Mississippi Media builds sharp, mobile-friendly websites that look great and work even better, and they're more affordable than you might think. We can drive customers to your new website with powerful radio commercials and targeted digital ads on Facebook, Google, TikTok, Hulu, and more. Call SuperTalk Mississippi Media at 601-991-2305 or visit stmmdigital.com.
I felt a
Baby, saw you burning on the corner of Grace.
I'm having the time of my life. I'm very grateful to be on the horn with the great David Porter. September 14th, 7 p.m. I can't say it enough. It's Sanders Soundstage. The Sanders Soundstage at the Grammy Museum, Mississippi, at 7 p.m. His book signing, Soul Man, is finally out. You can get it at davidportermemphismusic.com if you want an autograph copy. And you can get it everywhere else if you just want to hurry up and get it to read it and check it out. But he's going to be signing books as well there that night. Grateful for him to be there. If you're a Grammy Mississippi member, Museum Mississippi member, it's free, and $15 for non-members. It's not a big, huge room, so it's probably gonna fill up fast. So get your tickets. John, take over these last 7 minutes.
So, David, I think a question here is pull the curtain back on. So you and Isaac have written "Hold On, I'm Coming." Now Sam and Dave come in. How do you present that to them, and then how do you get Booker T and the MGs playing on that? How does it all, the transition from writing the song to producing the song in the studio? Please take us through that.
The thing that made Memphis and Stax Records so special and unique, a lot of sessions are and Steve knows this, and those who do us who do this know this. A lot of people write out what we call music charts with chords laid out and all of that kind of thing, and then they play the song. They don't necessarily know the song. They just know the chord progressions that they have to follow in the tempo that's set for it. At Stax Records, we did what we call head arrangements. In other words, after we write a song, the image and attitude for that song has to be manifested in a digestible way to the musicians that you're talking to. Now, when you understand that Stax primarily consisted of 4 or 5 piece rhythm section, that's drums, piano, guitar, organ, or another rhythm instruments. And so what happens with that is if you got 15 or 20 different artists, how do you find an identity that's unique to that particular artist that you're working with? Inside of the consciousness of someone who is doing the head arrangements, in other words, going around the room, giving the musicians the attitude, the spirit of the concept, and the deliverable way it should be done, takes a special skill within itself. And that's something that we did all kinds of ways. We harmed it. We talked about it. We went through all kinds of things. And the people would then contain that information. Then when the artists would come in, they're not here for, Sam and Dave would not be in town for days. I would have to teach them the song. And then upon teaching them the song, when we get ready to record the song, they're on one side of the microphone. I'm on the other side of the microphone, directing them like a choir. I would have given them the key points that I want them to exaggerate on, give them the spirit of the idea in a melodic way. And then the music that's going to be a complement around that. Isaac would go through the things with the musician. We would put the combinations together. And then we go on the microphone and it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. The downbeat of the next one, you've got to do the whole song by memory and spirit of attitude and all of those things in order to make it believable. And it worked. There's no opportunities to say, well, we're going to put this in right here. No, you have to make everything work on the beginning of that first one, for the 2 minutes and 30 seconds or 40 seconds the record was.
2 minutes and 34 seconds.
I
love that. I love it. It got to about 3:15, by the way. You know, I've learned. Boy, it was hard trimming down songs when you start writing. And you write books, of books of nothing, and you got to get to the good stuff. That's interesting. How long was it before you were able to cut and splice and all that?
Well, that came about 4 years later, before we really after the first hit, before we really get in, after You Don't Know Like I Know, because we went from 8-track to 16-track to 24-track to craziness. In other words, having the opportunity to overdub and to splice and all kinds of things.
Was that tempting to you as a producer to just over At what point did you go, okay, stop? Like,
Well, I believe in the authenticity of the emotional connectivity that gives you on the journey of an experience. So I wasn't too big of a fan of being able to splash and then stick it in, that kind of thing. I wanted the emotional journey to take people on the authenticity of that with the life of the song, whatever time that was. And so I respected it, but I just believe in emotional connectivity.
John Orniak.
Yeah.
I know, me too.
No, it's fascinating to hear all this because, not everyone, certainly in that era, could even go to a studio or, record in the studio or whatever. And so you're always, when you're listening to those records, at a certain point, you start wondering, well, how did they accomplish this? How did this all come together? And so it's great for David to pull the curtain back there for us.
Well, that's why you can appreciate someone like a Steve Cropper or someone like a Booker T. Jones or someone like an Al Jackson Jr., the drummer, who the Stack Studio floor was an old movie theater, as I mentioned, and it's a slope floor. You go walk in the room and the floor goes down and it goes up so you can see the movie screen. That's the old movie theater. Well, Al Jackson was always hearing a delay in that room because musicians would play at different points of the room. And for him to lock everybody in to where the pocket should be, speaks to the genius of Al Jackson Jr. It also speaks to the rhythm attributes that Steve would have in order to be sure that he was locking with Al, who then makes everybody else lock to them.
David Porter, folks. The book, David Porter, MemphisMusic.com, if you want it autographed, September 14th at 7 p.m., Grammy Museum, Mississippi, Sanders Soundstage. John Horniak will be there. The audio book on Amazon. Don't forget. Soul Man, David Porter audiobook. Visit Mississippi.org. We'll see you later.
I'm Steve Azar. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them, where you can take your sweet time.
A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.